Ladies and gentlemen, there's been another car purchase, and this is it, my new to me 2003 Audi TT. And I'm Daniel Achterhuis, and you're watching Daniel Drives. I've joined the dark side. I've bought a car with those all famous 4 rings on the front grille. Can't quite believe it, to be honest. This was 100% a spontaneous purchase. Now, apologies, it's looking quite dirty for this video. It's November. It's the reality of filming cars this time of year. But I guess we are getting the full Audi Quattro look, almost like a rally car. So yeah, this was 100% spontaneous. Going back a couple of weeks ago, I did not expect a TT to be entering my life anytime soon. I can't quite believe it. I've had it now for about 10 days and I've really enjoyed it. So far, I'm not regretting this purchase at all, even though it was, as I said, very spontaneous. And I'm a person that likes to calculate every purchase. I'm very indecisive. And I knew I kind of was ready to move the BMW on and try something different. And I went through looking at Golf GTIs, Audi S3s, all sorts, other BMWs as well, even E89 Z4s. Regular viewers will know I had an E85 Z4. And naturally, I ended up with none of those, and I ended up with one of these, a 2003 Audi TT. Of course, with the 1.8T, the BAM engine. Very highly renowned for being a lot of fun. Obviously with the Quattro all-wheel drive system, I'm pretty happy. And this is where I announced that since taking this little TT home, I've decided it's not going to replace anything. Because yes, that's right, much to the disgust of my neighbours and even my parents, our house is starting to look a little bit like a car park. Obviously my mum's got her Mk1 E-Tech, my dad's got the Renault Twingo that's very shortly going to be passed down to my brother, who's learning to drive currently. And then I've got my Fiat Panda 100 HP, my first car, I will never part with it. My BMW E92 325i, fresh home from a European road trip. And now this, my Audi TT. And the BMW was going to go, and I was happy with letting it go and trying something new. But I brought this home, and then I took the BMW to work one morning, and I thought, I'm really not ready to move it on. Now luckily, this car was not expensive, so I can afford to have the 3 cars. Insuring them though is a different matter, because I'm only 20 years old, I obviously don't have much driving experience, so insurance is quite ruinous. So the Panda has gone into hibernation for a couple of months, maybe a little bit longer, who knows? And this is taking over from the Panda's insurance policy. So this is running alongside my BMW through the winter. And to be honest, I can't think of a better winter daily. I mean, I've got all-wheel drive, I've got volcanic heated seats. I really do hope that this is going to turn out to be one of my better car buying decisions. So how did it come about? Let's rewind not that long ago. So, my best friend from high school, Matthew Loverouse, you may know him if you have watched my other YouTube channel, All Things Auto. It's been inactive for a little while, but all through the lockdown, we were filming our bike rides and going to car shows and doing car reviews. It's a lot of fun. And actually, All Things Auto predates this YouTube channel, Daniel Drives. Matthew is now a trained mechanic, and he has a TT. And we met up maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago now to get some fuel. You know, one of those obligatory young car enthusiast trips to get fuel. And there's a fuel station about 15 miles away from us, and it provides really cheap fuel. So we always tend to go there. We've done it before in other cars. His Fabia VRS, my Panda, my Z4, other cars as well. We've had quite a few by now. I'm in a certain man's Audi TT. Mr. Matt Loverouse. And God, I want one. Yeah, he actually let me have a go in his little TT. And I really fell for it. It's a lot of fun. I've not driven, or rather I've not owned a turbo car before this. I've driven turbo cars, but not properly on the roads. And just having that turbo on the roads is just so much fun. It sounds silly, but when you're used to naturally aspirated engines, you're used to revving them out. Whereas this has just got the power ready all of the time. So I drove Matt's TT and had a good look around it, and he was telling me all about the ownership experience and stuff. And then naturally, you end up spending countless evenings looking on Auto Trader, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Gumtree, Car and Classic, all the usual sites. And I found this, and this was on Facebook Marketplace, only down the road. So one Sunday afternoon, me, Matthew and his dad Jimmy went to view this car. It was at a farm, and it was being sold by a nice guy called Alex. And he opened his barn door and I saw the car and I was like, it looks really nice. It's not perfect. There's a couple of things that need sorting, and there's one thing that's probably going to make a few of you frown. We'll come to that later on in the video. But I liked it, and very shortly a deal was done. This was £2,700, which I can't help but think is just so much car for the money. It's unbelievable. And it came with so many spare bits as well. It's on BBS-CH replica wheels, which I think look pretty cool. The car is also lowered, so it sits nice. And it's also been remapped to 240 brake horsepower. These engines are a lot of fun. And I've since added a Ram air filter, which sounds incredible. Ah, and did I mention the V6 front bumper and rear diffuser? One of my favourite bits about this car, though, has to be the interior. I mean, just this era of Audi, the interiors have aged unbelievably well. It's just such a surprise. I feel like they went through a few years of looking quite dated, but today in 2025, this is a 22-year-old car. It just feels so premium and retro, but not in a old-fashioned, difficult to live with way. It all feels solid, it really does. Now, I've been comparing this a lot to my old Z4. I had a 2007 Z4 at the start of the year. Plenty of videos you can see on the channel. And sometimes, that was a car built in America, sometimes that could feel quite plasticky and quite rattly, but this being, you know, a Bauhaus car, it just feels so premium and well screwed together, and everything's made of aluminium as well. These air vents, surrounds, glove box openers. It's even got a little TT cover for the Audi Chorus radio. Everything's aluminium, and it's just nice to the touch. It really is. The gear knob as well, 6-speed manual gearbox. You've got the big chunky dials in front of you, nice big steering wheel with no buttons or anything just to complicate your life. It's just super simple, and I'm a massive fan of the interior in this car. It's probably my favourite piece, actually. Now, this isn't the first TT I've had on the channel. July last year, I actually reviewed Juanma's Audi TT. Juanma is an Argentinian digital illustrator who lives in the Netherlands. Quite a convoluted story. And he came to the UK for the Good Festival of Speed last year, and I actually reviewed his TT. And I remember I actually rewatched the video before going to see this car. I know, watching my own videos, just to kind of remind myself of how much I enjoyed this car when I reviewed it that day. And I remember saying even back then, the interior was just a highlight for me, and so many of them have black leather. Now my friend Matthews has got dark blue leather, which does look quite cool, but this has got sort of an ivory, silver, cream leather interior, which I'm a massive fan of because it really lightens up the cabin, because all the headline and everything's quite dark. The headline is actually starting to sag, but replacement headlining is one of the things that was included in the deal with this car, so I'm not too bothered about that. But it's just such automotive journalist cliche. It's such a nice place to be. And the Mk1 TT is blessed with two of the most useless rear seats ever created. So you fold the seat forward and then you have to slide it forwards manually. It's a bit of a ball ache. And then you kind of struggle yourself in. This is really difficult. It's like climbing back into the womb. It's just not supposed to happen. I'm 6'2", by the way. I'm in though, but I mean, this is well suited if you're an amputee, but otherwise, if you're, you know, if you've got legs and arms and stuff, this is not where you want to be. This little car has got perhaps one of the biggest boot lids I've ever seen in my life. It's more of a coupe, really, this car, and the whole thing comes up. It's just really surprisingly capacious, it is. It's quite shallow, so it kind of gives you the illusion it's bigger than it is, but you can fit decently sized stuff in there. It's a TT, so you can fit your golf clubs and your hair clippers and other stuff in there. Other TT cliches can be left down in the comments. But the rear seats can be tilted forwards and they can be taken out completely, which is probably what I'd recommend, to be honest. But yeah, it's not bad. You could road trip this car, which who knows, might be something we do in future. But yeah, for now, it's got my Draper tools and first aid kits and other random stuff in it. So what more could I ask for? Right, enough of the boring flim-flam. Let's go for a drive. Right then, let's leave this little car park and let's take my little TT out for a bit of a spin. Okay, I'm a bit welly. Oh, I love it so much. Just that turbo noise. It just never gets old. It's really, I love it. I absolutely love that sound. It's obviously not a sound I've experienced before because all the cars I've owned, the three of them, have been naturally aspirated. So it's just something different. And that's kind of what I wanted with this car, is something a little bit different, something a little bit fun to make the depressing winter months a little bit more tolerable. But it's just a lot of fun to drive. I believe the chassis of this car is just a Mark IV Golf chassis. It's not anything particularly special, and it weighs quite a bit. It's just under 1.5 tons. But it feels so agile and responsive and awake. It really is a credit to Audi, this car. It really is. It's just that ram air intake that I fitted. I've dropped the windows slightly so you can just hear it. Oh my gosh, it's just childish. It really is such a childish car to drive. I'll put the windows up and get it quieter again. Oh, it's a dangerous car. It encourages you to pedal on a little bit because of that noise. And even just for a 4-cylinder engine, has got a really nice growl to it. It's quite lovely. So when you get to 60 mile an hour, there's a little bit of a wheel wobble. That's one of the first issues it needs to sort. Obviously needs balancing. It needs new tyres all round. One of the rear tyres in a right state. Tread depth's fine. It's legal, but it's just, yeah, it's got a little bit of a gouge in the sidewall and stuff. I wouldn't want to take this car any further than local at the moment, just because the tyres are definitely worse for wear. So I definitely need to look into that. The front speakers were completely blown. 2 nights ago I replaced those for Kenwood speakers, so they sound good now. It basically means I can listen to my tunes. I am going to be replacing the standard Audi chorus unit. I bought a Sony head unit just so I can have Bluetooth and some of the other mod cons. But yeah, I like a bit of a project, and you know what, I feel kind of motivated by this as a project. I don't go, oh, it needs this and needs that, and isn't that such a pain in the arse? I go, oh, it's something new for me to try. It just builds up experiences. Right, let's address the elephant in the room, because a few minutes ago I mentioned that there was one thing that was going to make you frown. And that is the fact this car, ladies and gentlemen, is a cat. Not a meow cat, it is a Cat N. It's a write-off, in a sense, which just sounds so stupid to say. So I actually saw the advert for this car a few days before looking at it again. I saw it first of all, I saw the Cat N, and you go, oh, I'll go on to the next one. But I came back to it and I thought, you know what, I'm going to contact the seller and ask some of the details about what actually happened to give this car the Cat N status. And he sent me photos and stuff, and I did an online check, one of the ones you hear about quite often. And yeah, the check online matched up with what he said. So I knew he was being honest, and it was one of those things I paid really close attention to when viewing this car. And all it was it was involved in a little bit of a shunt. Obviously Cat N is non-structural, you've got Cat S which is structural, so it's just cosmetic damage. And all it was a slight dent and some scuffs to the front bumper. Unbelievable. Now I know some insurers are a bit of a joke nowadays. They tend to write off a car for the littlest of things, as you know, we now know with this car. But I guess they see a £2,000 or £3,000 Audi and look at the price of the panels and they go, you know what, we can't be bothered with this, we're just going to write it off. But what a shame, because it's not anybody's fault. It's just something that's going to plague this car for the rest of its life. But I paid under £3,000 for this, and I know you can get clean title TTs for that money, but this having suspension mods, it's got good brakes all round, got the BBS replicas as well, and it's been remapped, and it's a lovely spec. I thought, you know what, I'll give it a chance, because I trusted it was just that damage that the previous owner told me about. So maybe I'll do a video in future. Should you buy a categorized car, or should you not? I mean, so far, kind of not regretting it, but when I come to sell this car, will I? Who knows? The front bumper was replaced, the damaged one, for the V6 one. So in a way, the incident, whatever it was, whatever happened, was a bit of a blessing for this car, because the V6 bumpers are very sought after. Right, I will do a bit of a 0 to 60, but what I'll do is I'll change it up a bit. I'll do a 10 to 60 because it's an old clutch and I really don't want to absolutely lunch it, and I know these are quite difficult to do. So second, in fact, I'll do first gear. Okay, I'm cruising at 10 mile an hour. I'm going to go to 60. Ready? Wow, it's unbelievable. When the turbo kicks in, 60, there you go. Not very long at all. I need to brake for the corner. We don't want to have a crash on camera. Give it another category mark. Oh, it's a lot of fun. It really is. these cars are also surprisingly cheap to insure. So I was looking at Mk1 Golf GTIs, and so was my friend Matthew, and we ended up both going for TTs just because they were cheaper for some reason to insure. So if you're a young driver and you're watching this going, oh, I really want a TT now, don't rule it out. So let's talk about the Quattro system. So Quattro in this era of Audi, it's not permanent all-wheel drive. Basically, the TTs and your A3s and other cars, they're front bias, so most of the time they are running front-wheel drive. But the moment the front wheels slip, the moment the car feels that, the rears kick in. So when it gets a bit squirrely and it's kind of struggling to put the power down, the rears kick in and go, okay, we're going to help out now. It's all under control, which is quite nice. And I don't think this has had a Haldex service recently, and Haldex is the Quattro system. But I do know it seems to be working pretty well. I've tried it on some, you know, wet leaves and stuff, some slippery roads. If you kind of give it a bit of welly, you can feel the rears kick in, which is a good sign and something you should test when buying one of these TTs. I will do a buyer's guide at some point. I will look into doing that. For now though, I'm just going to carry on enjoying this car because it is a lot of fun. Who says the Germans make boring cars? Certainly not me. So there we go then, my first generation Audi TT. A car I really didn't expect to own, but it's funny how these things happen, isn't it really? It's quite spontaneous. But yeah, it's a car I'm really enjoying at the moment. I'm looking forward to living with it over the winter. It's not going to be a long-term car, I don't think. I'll probably have it for 4 or 5 months and move it on, probably. But I said that about my BMW, and that looks to be a keeper for now, so we'll wait and see what happens. I think I've settled for Andrea the Audi as the name, but maybe leave some suggestions down in the comments, but Andrea does sound quite cool, so maybe we'll go with that. In the next video on the Daniel Drives channel, you're going to see the return of Matthew Loverhouse to the Daniel Drives channel. He's actually not been on the channel for a number of years now, since he used to help out with some camera work. And we're going to fettle with the engine and, you know, make it right and check whether I've bought a dog or not. So looking forward to that. I hope you are too. Remember to subscribe to the channel and follow me on social media at DanielCars05. Auf Wiedersehen. Can't get out the bugger. Ugh.